He's wearing a ski mask.
I'm talking in the past tense because the Vegas odds clearly tell you he's already won it.
Yeah.
Minus 10,000 to win the award. So it's in the bag. It's his. And we've been talking Heisman Trophy all year. So I just want to throw a couple things out there and then open it up to you guys to talk about whether he deserved it or not. I know we gave out the pick Travis Hunter to win Heisman preseason. I saw a couple interesting things, though, that I wanted to bring up. So Travis Hunter this season for receiving, he ended 5th in receiving yards. We got on him a lot for not being in the top couple in receiving stats. Well, he did end at the top of the league, or, all of the conferences in receiving. 1152 receiving yards, 92 receptions, and 14 touchdowns. Very impressive, 5th in yards, up there in touchdowns as well. And on defense, he didn't look too bad either. He had 31 tackles, 20 solo tackles, 11 assists, 1 forced fumble, 4 interceptions, and a lot of pass breakups. So he definitely did something insane, but he plays the entire game.
Every game.
Yep.
Every game. They were up 45-0 last week, and they had Travis Hunter in catching his 3rd touchdown doing the Heisman pose.
Yeah.
So if there was ever a team that has played not as much for themselves, but for an individual award to say they got him the award, it is the Colorado Buffaloes.
I mean, if that isn't Colorado,
it does tell
brand,
that is
just
kind
the
of
most
what Colorado's
individually
about.
mental.
That is the way Colorado does. I mean, they have their, in their practice uniforms, they have their social media ats on the back of their.
Yeah,
I mean, Deion's doing things his own way, and he completely turned that program around. So
it is
whatever
me,
he's
not
doing,
we, with that.
Whatever he's doing is working, but at the same time, Ashton Jeanty sat out a lot of fourth quarters. He ended in first by a mile for rushing yards, 2,288 yards. Second place is 1,660. He had 28 rushing touchdowns, averaging 7.3 yards per carry. So I want to open it up. Are we robbing Ashton Jeanty of the Heisman with Travis Hunter being the runaway favorite?
Yes, it's not even close. I mean, this is so absurd. This guy leads the nation in pretty much every rushing statistic, in rushing yards, rushing touchdowns, and yards after contact alone beats the second best college running back in Caleb Johnson. Ashton Jeanty after contact has 1512. Caleb Johnson in total 1492.
Bro, 1512 after contact is crazy when the second highest rushing yards is 1660.
Yeah.
So his after contact is basically first or second place for the season.
No, it's the most unreal thing, and I think, at the end of the day, for me, this conversation between these two players comes down to, do I want the, by and large, not even close, best player in his position, or a guy who's top tier in 2 positions? For me personally, I think it is something we have never seen before. The numbers that this guy is putting up rushing on offense, I think it's unbelievable. I don't think we're going to see it for a very long time. For that reason, I think he is getting snubbed out of this award.
Mario?
I don't think it's absurd. Listen, would I give it to Ashton Jeanty? Yes, but slightly. And I'm not upset with Travis winning the award. I think Ashton Jeanty deserves it simply because his season, I thought, was just better. That being said, I'm not trying to discredit Travis Hunter. I thought what he did this season was also unprecedented. I thought it was just more of a stamina award for him. His stats were good, and like you said, he ended
Top five.
Top five.
Yep.
Yeah.
But keyword is ended. I mean, they blew out Oklahoma State 52-0. He was catching his touchdowns.
He's second in touchdowns as well.
And
but they were forcing those touchdowns. Yeah.
And especially the past couple weeks. It wasn't even this game. The last game, like you said, they
3
had
touchdowns. Yeah.
They're up 48-0 or whatever.
45-0.
45-0, and they're throwing them
in the fourth
touchdowns. But even the past couple weeks, Shador's made it a point whenever it was getting kind of dicey, does Travis deserve it or not? He just made it a point to target him even more than usual.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, he's a great player, but like I said, I if he wins it, he wins it. There's not a player like him in college, which is why I'm okay with him winning it. But I just think what Ashton Jeanty did. I mean, we see running backs every year. Hasn't really been too many seasons like the ones he had.
Yeah.
Really quick, just because this kind of reminded me of when College Football 25 first came out, the video game, and when Ty and I would do our dynasties, I remember very specifically we would choose one receiver who was the fastest on the team, and we would just chuck him the ball every time.
He would have 10,000 yards.
Literally 10,000 yards. He wins Heisman every single year, and it just seems almost like similar to that, where it's like, they're just feeding this guy the ball. Jeanty is doing it naturally. He's getting all of these numbers naturally, and it's because he's unreal.
I'll talk about that after Ryan, but Ryan, go ahead.
Yeah, I think when you're saying we have never seen something like this and we might not see it again with Ashton Jeanty, I mean, you could say the exact same thing for Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
What he's doing is I personally haven't seen since my lifetime. Deion Sanders was before, but like no one's played on both sides of the ball this well. And
So it's Charles Woodson, really.
yeah, Charles Woodson, but that wasn't really. I mean, we weren't watching. We were
0 years old.
Well, yeah, in college, yeah.
1999.
Negative.
No, in college, yeah. But yeah, I'm saying like we've never seen this, so like it has been. We've never seen it before. I still would give it to Ashton Jeanty because like I agree they were force feeding him. His stats getting better only made the team look better. Them on the news, them better. He had like 6 or 7 touchdowns of these touchdowns in the fourth quarter, like last game, like these blowout games that they give him the ball at the end of the game. So I like Ashton Jeanty, but I do think that it is warranted to give the probably top 3 pick, best player in the country unanimously, the Heisman. Even though, yes, Jeanty's doing something we've never seen. Travis Hunter's doing the same thing. Yeah. I've never seen this in my lifetime. They showed Jeanty stats. There's been people who rush for that many yards. Maybe not that many or that many touchdowns. The people have done it. No, in my lifetime, no one done what Travis Hunter done. And I think that won't happen for a while. Jeanty, next year, someone can come in and rush for 3,000 yards. Who knows? Like,
Yeah.
I don't think anyone will be doing what Travis Hunter does for a while, probably.
Yeah.
But I do hate the force feeding.
Yeah, no, they clearly made it a point, especially with Deion saying it in every press conference, talking about the Heisman.
Yeah.
Where the Boise State coach hasn't mentioned the Heisman, until this past week, where he just talked about it's insane that Jeanty, if he doesn't win this award. I hate the force feeding, but it makes sense. Colorado, that's very Colorado, that's very Shador, that's very Deion.
It's me, not we.
It's not very surprising. I think he is the best player in college football. I don't like how unanimous it is, though. I'd like to see it be a little less of a minus 10,000 blowout.
Yeah.
Because also on the force feeding front, I mean, okay, let's not pretend Ashton Jeanty doesn't have the most carries in college football. Boise State gives him the ball 35 plus times a game. So, his stats are great, right? He averages 7.3 yards per carry, which is insane to do at that clip with all those carries.
Yeah.
He is playing in a terrible conference. They're basically playing no teams. Their tough opponents are like the Colorado States, the UNLVs,
They played Oregon.
They'll play Nevada. They played, which is the reason they're rated so high. I mean, their loss to Oregon is better than any win they've had, apparently. If you ask anyone on any TV network, it's like, they played Oregon and lost. Like, it was a close game. And they're like, so they deserve to make it. Don't get me started on why Boise State being in. But
It's fair.
he gets the ball 1 billion times a game, right? So his average is 7.3 yards per carry. You look at a guy like Caleb Johnson, like you said, on Iowa. He averages 6.5 yards per carry, has 72 less touches and only 7 less touchdowns. So there is no one doing it like that, but he's doing it in the Big Ten with less carries, similar average, and almost as many touchdowns against way better defenses. So, I was just not as impressed with Jeanty's stats. I think he looks better than anyone else. I think he's the best running back in college football. But, to me, it's not that big of a difference. If you put Caleb Johnson on Boise State and they hand him the ball 37 times a game, 35 times a game, does he probably put up pretty similar stats?
He might.
Yeah. He probably does because he almost did it at Iowa. Against Ohio State defenses, against Oregon defenses, not against Nevada and Colorado State. So, I think Travis deserves it. I don't think it should be as close, but I do like how no quarterbacks are in the top 2.
Yep.
It's cool
I
to see
love
this
that.
go away
I
from
do
a
love
quarterback award.
That's cool.
But yeah, it is weird to me when you have the top 2 for Heisman being a team that's not in the playoffs or in the conference championship in the Big 12, probably the worst, if not one of the worst defensive conferences in college football, and then a non-power 4 running back who gets the ball 35 times a game is Heisman. Are either of them the most impactful players in the country? Come on, are any of their teams going to win a playoff game? Does any of that really matter?
Definitely not,
At the end of the day, for Boise, it's probably more impressive because he literally carried them.
Yeah,
to
I
the
think
playoff
impact.
game. Yeah, impact is cool.
Boise
but
would not be there if it wasn't
I don't know.
for Ashton Jeanty.
Yeah,
to me,
100%.
it was always we always said it was the quarterback on the best team, right? And we're like, can we get away from that? Well, we got away from it. We went so far away from it that it's now a
Irrelevant
position that gets
teams.
force-fed stats on teams that probably aren't going to win any playoff games.
Yep.
So I think there's probably somewhere in the middle that you could go. I know Curtis Rourke's stats aren't insane, but he won 11 games in the power conference and they're going to be in the playoffs. So I'm not saying Curtis Rourke for Heisman, but all I'm saying is, maybe we went a little too overboard.
I'll say Curtis Rourke for
Maybe
Heisman.
we went a little too overboard on the, just look at the stats, don't think about who they're playing side of things. That's all I'm saying.
That's fair. Yeah.
That's fair.
But yeah, there you have it. Let us know in the comments what you think about the Heisman. It's been a pretty hotly contested topic all season long. We've been talking about it. Who gave out the Travis Hunter pick preseason? Was it Mike?
Me.
That was sharp. What was it? Plus 2,000, plus 2,200?
I think it was plus 2,500 at the time.
Plus
Oh, it's way
2,500.
more than that.
It might have been. We can go
think-
find it.
yeah, I
and
think we have it
we'll
on
drop
record
it. But
somewhere.
yeah, let us know what you think. Is it Travis for Heisman? Does he go 1 overall? Is he the best player in college football? Let us know your thoughts. Stay locked in with us this week. It is championship week.